So just setting up. Hey, anyone who's joining, I'm going to find it hard to do comments today because obviously I'm going to be in the headset. So I apologise. Every 10 minutes or so, I'm going to do about an hour of Gravity Sketch for anyone that knows it. So I'm in the headset now, as you can see me up there. So what I am going to do is I'm going to switch off the pass-through in a moment. So anyone that doesn't know, this is Gravity Sketch, and obviously I'm in a Quest 3 and I'm not using it tethered because I want to start doing a course eventually that is going to be just using the Quest 3, so untethered, no PC, you know, nothing driving it, just the headset, so that I can get beginners to try this. Obviously Gravity Sketch is free. It's a VR modelling software for anyone that doesn't know, and these lives are the first of a few tests that I'm doing. So I'm going to turn pass-through off now, and then I'm just going to work through for an hour. So like I say, every 10 minutes or so I'll take the headset off and have a look for comments. So I apologise, it's not like when I do Nomad. Just to give you an idea of my office, by the way, you look around there, that's the editing area, that's models, etc. 2 rooms of models there, so sometimes people are interested in seeing the sculptures and characters and stuff like that. So I'm going to turn pass-through off, and then I won't be able to see the screen. So now I'm in Gravity Sketch, and hopefully you can see what I can see. So I'll just work through for about 15 minutes, and then we'll see if it's the live streams worked. So I'm going to do Meg Mucklebones from Legend, so the film Legend. So I've got some reference artwork here, just grabbed a few JPEGs offline. So with Gravity Sketch you can bring them out. I don't know who the artist is here. It's off ZBrush Central, so I can't give credit because I'm literally just referencing it. So I'm going to throw a few of these in the scene. And the one that I do like is this. This one's quite a nice one just for the head shape. So I'm going to leave that over there while I model. And this one is an amazing sculpt by somebody on ZBrush Central, which I think is the same as this one, but it just helps me see the facial shapes and what are going to be the loops. And then we'll probably just put this from the film, just to be sure that we're definitely referencing the movie, like so. So the way I start normally would be to do strokes for the shapes. I always have symmetry on. So I'll just go up and I'll make sure that's on. So symmetry on. I don't lock it vertically because that's usually for cars. It keeps it locked literally to that plane. And I generally have surface contours on because I'm going to do a lot of polygonal modelling. This is all about polygon modelling today. So I don't need that one on. So that'll give me that. And again, I'm not using strokes like this. I'm going to be using polygonal modelling. So I'm going to do, like I say, about an hour of polygon modelling. So I'm very close to these tools. I was heavily involved with the company when they made these tools. So this tool set is pretty much how I want this software to be. So I'm so excited to whenever I jump into Gravity Sketch, I just love these tools. So I've got 2 spheres. I'm just going to change this render settings because I've got the comic style on there, which I don't want. I just want clay, so basic clay. And what I want to do is make a symmetrical box to work from. So I'm just going to hit the blue button here on my non-dominant hand. So I'm left-handed. So we just tap the blue button, and you can see there it's not even a subdivision object yet. It's still a parametric object, so we can change it. So if you click on the purple button, and you can just go convert to subdivision object, and then you can see straight away now we've got points, edges and faces. So this is exactly as you would expect in any polygonal modeler. And you've also got, if I pull that out for a moment and just put that up, in fact there's fine for now, I don't need to move that image. What we've got is the ability to turn subdivision on like this. So if you're aware of subdivision modeling, then this is just a normal everyday modeling session. It's just that you're in VR. I'm going to flick left and right with my thumbstick, and that's giving me edges, points, faces. So it's very much what you would expect in the likes of Blender. And the red buttons are delete, so I've just deleted that face out. And then what I want to do from a point level is I want to bring these to a center. I just want to snap them to a center line. And that means I've got a basic polygonal shape to work with now. So this is going to be my head. So I know straight away that she's going to be tipped slightly forward. Obviously she's going to have big ears, which we'll look at later on. I'm going to really focus on the face today. And what I might want to do already is put a split through this. So I might want to run splits all the way through the model in different places. So I might want to do here. Let me just do it. Oops. Here it's the front trigger, and I'm now going to do. I'll do it again, and then I'm just going to slowly shape up the head, very roughly. So it just needs a big forehead. If you know polygonal modeling, you'll know that it's very rough for quite a while. You can, if you want, subdivide it at this point and you can get an idea, but it really, for me, it really doesn't help at this point, because what we're trying to do is get some nice basic geometry going. So we just want basic proportions. I can push the trigger larger like so, and I can pull out 2 or 3 at a time, and I can grab loads and pull down on the thumbstick, and that tightens the geometry. But with subdivision on, I find that can start causing a mess, so I leave that off for now. I'm going to run a split through the middle, so let's go quite close up there, and a split down here, and then we'll just start working on the basic things that I want included in this first part of the model. A couple more splits just to help me. So point mode, we know we're going to need a big nose, so there's going to be a big nose coming out of here at some point, like here. And again, you really need to be aware that this takes a while before it starts to even show anything like the model that we're going to make. This at the moment is just almost it is blocking out, and I'll be deleting a lot of this as I go. So what I will need is to be able to say I'm going to do a nose there somewhere, a jaw. I'm going to put one more split down there. That gives me a little bit more to play with down here. There will be a rough jaw here. Obviously that big nose will come later. And sometimes I'm going to delete stuff and just leave it gone for a while. You'll see what I mean in a moment. I'll just tighten that back down. I'm just literally pulling down. There are different ways to do things in Gravity Sketch. You can do smooth in a couple of ways. So you can go to Tool. So that's this tool button on the dominant hand, and then just get the smooth brush, and you can literally just smooth it around like this. So bigger brush, bigger effect. But again, at this early stage, I'm not overly bothered about that. I want to be really careful what I'm doing. The big thing I don't want is loads and loads of polygons at this early stage. I've got loads to do before I need that. And the nose will be completely rebuilt, and the mouth will be completely rebuilt. So let's start with something simple like the eye. And we will need a sphere for this, so I'll be able to go back in, and I want to bring in a basic sphere. So we'll just use this one. We'll make that a subdivision object and bring it in, and then we'll just make a basic sphere, something like this. So we want that. We'll need that in a minute, so we'll put that out of the way. So I'm literally going to put it at the back for now. I will need it in a few minutes. So with the head now, what we want to do is now make some space for where the eye is going to go. So I'm going to flick to where my where it goes dark like that. You can see it go dark. That means I'm selecting over those faces, and then I'm just going to fire, and then with my inner grips make it smaller. So this is going to be what's going to be the eye socket. So and again, if you want to, you can see that smooth on and off like that. So it's a basic eye socket. That's more than enough for what we want to do just for this moment. I'll run another split down here. Doesn't seem to want to do it for some reason. Why don't you want to play today? That's strange. That's because it was on the wrong mode, that's why. And we know roughly we're going to need, if you look up here, there's going to be a nasal cavity, a nasal fold coming down here. So we will need to do some more nice polygonal work down there to follow. We're after an edge flow around this nose that'll come round and out here. So there'll be a lot of this nose gets deleted. But already we've got an eye socket, and we know roughly where that's going to go. If it's in the wrong place, pull it around to roughly the right sort of place. So it's halfway down the head is where I'm after. We're not bothered about the ears or anything like that at the moment. Just want to get this into a rough block out. And we know the mouth stays underneath the eye. So the mouth on this lady is quite small. So it's only going to be something like that sort of size. And we will need, the big important thing is we'll need loops all the way around the mouth. So we'll have to reconstruct this geometry as we get to that. So I'm going to go in with the mouth. Let's go in once and then in with it like much smaller and much further in. So that'll be where the mouth will be later on. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the polygon flow, this won't make a lot of sense to you now. If you do know, if you're a polygonal modeler, if you understand edge flow, you'll be really clear in what I'm doing now. But if you're not, then obviously you won't. So I'm going to talk to the audience as if you, or the future people who are watching this, as if you don't know what it is I'm doing. So again, you'll have to bear with me, as you know, the audience is always different. Now the lighting's a little bit odd, and sometimes it's good to go here, come up to the top, and see this light. You can pull it out and you can actually move it. So I sometimes like to just put it above my head and leave it in the scene. You can anchor it as well to the model, which with the blue anchor, which I don't want to do. Well, that means I can try different shading as I move it around, and it does help me sometimes. So I'll just move these out of the way. So we'll actually subdivide them before we put them in, and then we'll put them in the head, and we're going to model around them. So that noise you can hear is just a news channel that I've got on. Again, don't worry about the nose. Let's just focus on the eye for the moment. So go back to the head. So I'm selecting it with the inner grip, and then blue button to activate it. And then we will subdivide this for a moment while we just put another split in there, go to point mode, and now we can just start thinking about this initial eye shape here. So we know we want a nice tight eyelid, so we'll bring that around like so. It's much more rounded than this, much more evil, as you can see. So in subdivision mode there, it's a little bit it's not how we're going to hide. It's a bit janky still, a little bit, so you a little bit unsubdivided, so you can do another one like that, and then bring that down. Let's put another split in here, and then back to our polygonal model. So we've got an eyelid in place now. It's roughly in place. Remember, an eye goes round the back like that. There's, I think you could see it probably on this image here a little bit. Pull it back like that. It goes round the eyeball, and then the skull, the cheekbone, will come back out. So we can bring it out a little bit here. We can always add loads in later. We're going to change this such a lot. I can't stress it enough how early on we are in this. But I'm trying to get the basic shape down, even if we fully maybe even in a later video if I don't get to it all in the time that I've got here. But you can see there I've got an eye. Again, not right, but I'll keep saying it until you're bored of hearing me say it. But it's it's given us an eye shape to work with. So we've blocked that out and got enough geometry to know that it will look at least like an eye when it's finished. The eyebrow needs to come out quite a lot. We'll probably use this top loop here, and she'll bring this down, bring this one down here, or up should I say, and then out like this. And there's a very classic sort of evil person look going on here. We can smooth, we can tighten these areas down if you're not getting what you want. This is almost like sculpting. Once you get this right, having the smooth on your hand is one of the most powerful things that has ever happened in 3D for me. There's some software, there's a piece of software I use called Silo, and Silo, I map it to a mouse wheel roll, which I find that, apart from sculpting, obviously that I'm talking about 3D modeling now, not sculpting. So apart from sculpting, that is just one of the best ways to work for me overall. So we've got a head, we've got a cheekbone, so you can see there we've got this nice big cheekbone coming out, so we know that's right. She's going to have this big jaw when we get round to it, so we'll clean that up a bit. The mouth, again, looks horrible, I get that. We'll bring it down a bit like that, maybe bring it in a bit. And we probably need to work on the nose next, I think. So to do that, I'm going to turn Subdivision off, and you can see how horrible it is. I used to call this the light wave phenomenon, and that's because when I started doing all this, a lot of people would model like this and see it subdivided, and it just used to look terrible all the time. But that's, you know, the end result is what mattered. So that's pretty much the analogy I used to give. Was I see lightwave modelers doing it like that. So I want to now bring that nose out. I'm not going to worry about the geometry at the moment. I'm just going to bring it out and bring it down. So I'm going to do 1, and then with my inner grip scale it, and then 2, and then scale it, and do 1 more. I'll just have to make sure I've grabbed those 2 end ones to scale it right down. And that's given me a nice hook nose. Again, geometry is wrong, but let's have a look with the light. Let's move it around, make sure we're getting some nice forms, which we are. So we're not doing too bad. There will be a lot to change, but it's at least going the right way. So let's take our head again, activate it again, and we've got to think about these edge loops around the nose. So around here, you know, you really have to think about the nostrils next, and then the edge flow around those. So the nostrils, I can't really see underneath, but I think it goes quite far under here. So we would probably pick those 2 there and bring them in like that, and then up into a head, pull it back into a head if you've got a problem with it connecting. And that shows us we've got a problem round here because of the edge flow. We haven't got any edge flow that's correct here. So we'll probably work on that next. So let's unsubdivide it for a minute, go back to like point level, like so, and just make it a little bit cleaner while we work on it, like that. And then we've got to think about this flow here. We need this like, it's hard to tell at this low polygon level, but we need this flow to come round here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete some stuff. So I'm going to take that face, delete it, that face and delete it, and then back to point mode, and I'll just have a look at how we can work around this area. So I'm going to take an edge here and extrude it and turn it, and that'll bring it round the corner here. I'm going to put a split in here, and that'll bring that up there. So this can turn down here. So we're getting there now. I'm going to put an edge in there. Now with these, if you pick an edge like that, you can snap one there like that, and then snap the other. But what I generally do is do it point by point, like that. And then I like the fact that that would come down here now. So I'm actually going to delete, let me delete this face here so we don't do any damage down at the bottom, and I'll split this up here. We'll then extrude this face down and snap it in. Extrude this one out and snap it in. So it's filling that polygonal hole. So that's quite a common, you know, thing to do in 3D. And then could we get away? See, that's a very stretched polygon there, and I don't like that. So I'm going to split that all the way through, and I don't like doing that. But I think for this case, in fact, actually, do you know what? I won't do that. What I'll do is I'll delete that polygon there, because we can do some fixing around here. And now if I split it, you can see that that run stops there. So at this point here, later on with the hole, I can work out, that's going to be the ear anyway. So we'll probably be doing that to give us something for the ear. So actually, that's been our friend. That there, did you see that? I'll just undo it to show you. See that there? That's exactly what I never want to see. So that's a polygon that's deformed so badly that it's beginning to twist. and you want to have flat quads wherever you can. As many, as minimal amount of triangles as possible, and wherever possible, don't twist your polygons like that. So if you spot them, get rid of them. I mean, this is too thin here anyway, but it doesn't matter because we've got a neck to think of at that later stage. So let's just see what happens down here now. So if I put a split down there and then snap that together, does that give me a flow around there? It does. So that flows around the nose, down there, and finishes down here. So if I ran a split down there, it would be a contiguous edge loop round the edge like that. So that, even on low poly, that's a win. That's pretty close to what I would want. And again, we can change it. It's not, it's not definitive yet by any stretch. Put some splits in there just to get it a bit more rounded. I'm spotting wherever I can to round things. You can see that's run all the way down there, but not causing us any major problem. If I grab them, as we're going up the polygon count, the janky looking spiky model is getting less janky and spiky because we're adding more detail. So it starts to look more and more like the subdivided model as we go. So that's not a bad thing, is it? So let me just take my headset off for a second and put my glasses on and just see if anyone's here to say hello to. So yeah, Paul, Modfather, Oculus, yeah, it's the Oculus. Hello, I've been following your channel for a while. Would you recommend medium for creating characters or animation? I'll talk about that when I go back in the headset. Medium's dead in the water, really. You have to go to Adobe Substance Modeler, really. Looks fun to make. Apart from GS, is ShapeLab better for animating characters after modeling? ShapeLab is more of a sculpting program, so you want Masterpiece VR for animating. Sound Life, anybody in the chat, much appreciated. So yeah, I'll go back in the headset. There's nothing major to talk about. So some good questions though, and hopefully you can still see me. So let's carry on and start thinking about other things now. So we've got a flow around the nose. We will just put Subdivision back on for a moment, just to have a look at it. And as you can see, with the lighting on, she's not too bad at all. The eye we can do a bit more work on. Bring that round. So the corner of the eye will be tighter and tighter as we go, so we get a nice crease in that corner of the eye with the Subdivision modelling. That's looking good. And then I think she'd have really, looking at it, she's got really like a really high brow. It goes up and round quite extensively, doesn't it? So good. And then she has this really deep looking furrowed brow. So we probably will need more geometry out here when we get to that. But that would be enough for now. And then her nose tightens in here, the back of it, and the nostril flares out as we're seeing. So in fact, what would a split do there? Does that help us? Yep, that gives us a bit more to play with. So that's fine. And then maybe tighten this nose down a bit. So I'm just using smooth, so I can bring it all together like that, and then smooth it down. That gives me, so I've got good edge flow around the edges there. Good edge flow around there, so that's looking good, or good enough. Her mouth sits right under her nose looking at it, so this nostril comes down. In fact, let's get that going back in a little bit, like so. That's not too bad. And then her mouth needs to be a lot closer at the bottom, so let's bring that in. In fact, I'll go Subdivision off for this next little bit. And then what I'm going to do is run a split round here, and that means I can bring this out like so. Can I run a split all the way around there? Would it cause problems? No, should be okay. So that would give me a much tighter corner of the mouth up there, and then she would come up here, and arc straight up like this, a lot thinner of a mouth, like so. I think I need the light down a little bit here, so I'm going to bring the light down here for this, so it's over my shoulder now. Yeah, as I say, you can pin it to the model while we're working. You can do, you can do that and shoot, and it will move around with. You can see it moving now with the model, but you don't always need that. It's good to be able to move it around as needed. We need to see a lot of light from the front at the moment, so let me just see where that goes. Does that go too far in, down? Let's just smooth this inner mouth a little bit. So I'm just put a split in there so we can pull this mouth up a bit, and then tighten it with the, again, just select all of them and tighten them down like so. So these lips now, she's obviously got a craggy old mouth, so she hasn't got the usual shape that we'd normally be putting a lip shape in there, the upper lip and the lower lip. But we just don't need to do that with this character. So come round the jaw a little bit, and obviously we haven't fixed all of this yet. There's so much to do down here. It's loads to do. So what we can start doing is, I know the neck's going to come out of here somewhere. So if that's like that, it means we can free up a bit of this where there's too many polygons coming together. Just bring them down and tighten them, and then start thinking about how to fix all of these polygons coming down here. So what we do need is, we do need this jaw to flow, this group of polygons here to flow round here. So I do need this to stay coming round, and I do need this. This is the cheek fold here. So this is going to tuck under here, and we will need that to come back like that. And you'll see what I mean. If I put Subdivision back on, you'll see what I mean. That's a very important fold there. The cheek fold is one of the big ones. So that really needs to carry on. Well, it gets to about here and then dissolves off. So we kind of have to resolve it around here somewhere. But this is what I need. This definite, crease up, right up into here, and then round that corner there. In modelling, I would put a lot more in. On a desktop, I might put a lot more in there. So we could look at that later. So let's resolve this bottom corner now and see what we can do. So first thing we can do is, we've just said we need to make sure that all of these come straight down. So I know I'm going to need a couple more polygons in here. So it'll be something like that. So I'm going to go fill that one in. I'm going to fill that one in, and that one. So yeah, pretty much seals it off and gives me that jawline. So if I wanted to, or when I'm ready, I can put a nice, I could run another line around there as well, and that would give me a much nicer, more defined jawline when we're ready. And this kind of bleeds off, as I said, this cheek fold bleeds off into nothing, so that's worked. There probably needs to be one more split down here, and we need that because we're probably going to want a corner of a mouth, something like this, something along these lines, but I haven't fully decided yet. But that means I've got a few more polygons that way to play with, and if we want to, we can end off some of these, so we can turn them back in on themselves. And what that means is, you can take one of these, for example, I'll take a couple of these, and we can turn this polygon flow this way. So I've now turned, it's one of the ways of reducing, so that flow now goes back on itself and back out. So that resolves where you've got too many, and I could connect that one to that one, and that pretty much solves that bit. We know that the neck's going to be around here somewhere, and there are too many, we've still got too many problems up here. I mean, look at that, it's horrible. You can see there, this looks terrible here, so maybe it's time we just took that and cleaned that up a little bit with a smooth. So it's, you know, too many polygons in one place is a problem. So and it's you know, you have to think about that in any program that you're in. There might be too many coming through here, in which case we might have to end them sooner, but I don't want to do that until I'm working on that bit. But we've kept it cleaner, which is good. So we'll bring that up there and smooth it down like so. And in terms of the neck, I haven't fully decided how I'm going to do the neck yet. Quite often what I would do is run a split all the way around, but I just don't, I mean, I haven't really thought about the neck much at all yet in terms of how, there's lots of things like this big polygon here that I might want to resolve first. So this actual way of working is just like Cinema 4D's Polypen, and a bit like the quad draw tools in Maya, if anyone knows that. You know, and Blender's got pretty much the same as well. So it's all aggregated to the same kind of thing now. We've got to the point where a lot of the tools are the same. It's just a different way of implementing them. You know, and if you want to learn this and you don't want to do it in VR, then just go and learn it in Blender. It's completely free. But that's given us an edge loop. Now you can see there I've ended it with a very averaged out edge loop. You know, you can see it because I can split it like that, which means I can, you know, if I wanted to, I could start thinking about the neck a little bit here. You know, I'm bringing it out. There's loads more to it. I'm using a very limited tool set here for anyone that's looking. You know, you could start getting much more complicated with cuts, but at this block out point, I don't usually bother. I just get it done with as minimal tools as possible, which is what you're seeing me do right now. So that neck has worked out fine, and there's not going to be a lot of work needed to do on that. We're not really focusing on the neck, but that gives us, if I smooth it down, you'll see, that's given us a good enough neck to work with. It's given us the underlying topology for the neck. Let's go back and just pull it down like so. I'm hoping everyone can hear me. I haven't checked. It's very difficult when you're in VR, obviously running a live stream, because you can't see it. And I could put it in here, but my eyes aren't that good anyway. So let's just leave it for this today. I'll jump back out in a minute and just have a check. Now what I will do at this point, I'll just save it and have a look at it. It's pretty much on par where I wanted it to be, really. There's lots of overall changes that I'll do as I move down and sort of, like, you know, improve the modelling, which is what I'm about to do. But what I'd like to do at this point is save it. So she's in a good enough point to save here. So what I'm going to do is come in here and just go save and export, and we'll go save as, and we'll save it in MySpace, and we'll just call it Meg 001. Whenever I say Meg Mucklebones, I always think like, I always feel like saying Meghan Markle for some reason. So and there might be some similarities, but I don't know that for sure. You know, two very, very different people. But Meg Mucklebones is a swamp witch, and she messes around with Tom Cruise. So she messes with him a fair bit. So, but it's such a great character. And a fun fact: the actor that played Meg Mucklebones is the Dr. Hologram from Star Trek DS9, was it? It's the guy that was the hologram from Star Trek. Anyway, somebody in the chat might know what his name is. I can never remember his name. But basically it's him anyway. So I like that there, and I think I will split him, or her, sorry, all the way down there to give me another. And I noticed that split runs down here, but doesn't cause me any major problems. So you're always looking, if you're going to get a problem running it through the whole model, then you have to go to a cut tool, which is in here. It's you have to be on the right mode, then go to tool, and it's this one, edge cut or separate edge. Now we're not going to touch that today, or not till later anyway. I really just want to focus on getting this stuff done with the minimal amount of tools for beginners, really. So maybe I'll do some edge cuts on the next one, or maybe even when I do the ears, which I'm about to actually do. So the ears have got quite a lot of polygons to play with now, so this could be quite a lot of. We'll do what we did with the neck. So we'll just sort of like start working out if we've got a good enough distribution of polygons, which I think we have overall. It doesn't look too bad. I've accidentally welded that one there, so I didn't want to do that. So bring that one in there, and again I don't want to, this is going straight out to be the ear now, so I'm going to zoom right in, snap that one, get this one leveled off nicely. This will be the front of the ear, and then make it thinner now. It's going to start looking ear shaped in a moment. Bring it around here. You can see it's a loop. If you hadn't already noticed, that's obviously an edge loop. So that's giving me a contiguous loop all around the ear, which is always a good place to start, as you now know. I'll split that loop and then we'll bring this out. So we'll bring it to a bit of a point before I grab it all, or not so much a point, but more of a, you know, closer together. And it means I should be able to grab it like this. And I can think about her ear being like something, it's obviously going to come down here, and she has a big droopy bit here, but that's probably enough. If I do it bigger than I want it, that's probably a good start. And then bring her around here, make sure I've got all the polygons, which I have. Now what I'm praying is I haven't done this wrong and I haven't got a triangle here on the end anywhere. So it would be cool if there was no triangles here. Just make it cleaner at this early stage, and it means I don't have to start. Whenever you've got a triangle, to fix a triangle you've got to come all the way back to the center. So if you have a triangle on the end, which I may have here actually, no I don't think I have actually, just quickly did a check them visually, so you can see there it's still quadded, so yay me. If there was a triangle there, to get a quad you'd have to run a split all the way back to the center, and that's what I'm trying to avoid always. So it's just a little bit of planning, and you're always trying to avoid that if you can. So put a split down there and a split there, which means I can grab that entire end and tighten it down like so. And bear in mind this is now still off. The subdivision is still off. So this is looking okay unsubdivided, which is where I want to be really for something like this. So we will go one more split here, and then a split tight in there, which will give me what I want, which is this, which is the dangly bit, like that. And that would be this bit here that dangles down at the side of her head, and it comes down to her chin. So what we want to do is get this bit a little bit rounded here and pull it up to an ear shape here, like so. And that's probably close enough. Another split there, and that's probably enough. So I'm going to go in with that one. Go in with that one. I'm going to delete that for a minute because I can't remember how to select across. I wanted to select a bigger group and I can't remember how to do it without checking, but there you go. That's delivered what I wanted anyway. So it's given me a bit more of an ear shape down here, and now we can model into that. We're not going to do a lot of detail on the ear. I just need something to make sure the model is completely sealed up. We just need this one there. We're going to split through that. Do we need a split all the way through there? Can we take a split all the way through? Let's run it and see where it goes. So it's funny that it's just couple of times now. It's like it just doesn't want to split it in those areas. Yeah, it's like the split's frozen. I don't know why that's happening. We'll have a look at that again in a minute. See, it's working that way, so it must just not like it for some reason. Don't know why. So bring that down here. Bit tighter there. Let's put the subdivision on, and we can see where our problems are. So it looks a little bit weak here, so we need to go in a bit here. Now I could do with some reference really, so maybe I'll just tighten this down a little bit. I'm going to make it all smaller. Look at that, that's great. So I'm grabbing the whole lot, and with inner grips just bringing it down because I want this ear to turn like this. It might be better to have another split here first before I do it, like that. That's cool. And then bring this ear down. And then there's lots of detail inside the ear that we can do at a later stage, but at least we've got our ear shape. So in terms of blocking out, we've got good geometry all the way around, so nothing's screaming out as bad geometry there. We've got the basic shape that we wanted for the ear going into the head. She's got this dangly bit sorted now. I don't even know, it's an ear lobe obviously, but I don't know if there's a technical term for that on a witch. But go around like this, and then that would mean we need to fix this jawline a bit now, because as I said we would. So the jaw is in the wrong place a little bit, so need to pull this back a bit and then smooth all that down there we go. That looked better straight away, didn't it? So that fixes our jawline as it comes up here. So the eye looked a bit off again. Bringing that around. You see, this is, those of you that are modelers will know what this is. This is called noodling. So it's where you just start messing with things with no real plan. I'm just literally working around the model and noodling away. I'm quickly looking at the reference and then thinking, right, what does it need more of? And then going and having a little tweak in that area. So she needs bigger bags under her eyes actually, so I need a split here, so I can do this and bring it down, inside this corner here like this. I probably would put in a corner, like a little tear duct in the corner there eventually, if needed. So I'm going to do one more thing before I stop and have a see if there's any chats. Obviously I didn't tell anyone I was doing this, so I'm not expecting any of my buddies to show up. So, and if you are there, any of my buddies, then hello. I just wanted to test doing this in VR. So let's bring a couple of models out then. So let's bring a torus out. And maybe not symmetrical for this one, so I'm going to turn symmetry off. So I'll come back up here. We need to turn symmetry off for this model, and then we need to have it customizable, like so, and then we need bigger like that and smaller like that, and I can't remember how do I make the donut smaller. It's these things, if you don't use it all the time, you forget. Is it that center one? No, messed it up, but it doesn't matter because I can just use that as the front. So I want to subdivide it. Like so. Just put it in as just as a placeholder for now, and I'm just going to fire and just replace it. I just need it as a temporary set of gums, that's all. So now what I do need is some spikes. So I need some teeth spike. So I'm just going to use, put that back in there. Won't leave me alone, it keeps following me. I'm going to go in here and I'll just do a cube. And in fact, I'll tell you what I'm doing wrong. That customize isn't helping me. I just want basic cube, if I'm honest, and no symmetry on. So bring it up like that, like that. I just want it as a basic bottom tooth. Move that light around a bit. And that'll do me again. Just all I want these for is a placeholder. So I just want loads of placeholders janky at the bottom like this. We'll do this properly on when I come to look at it, but I just wanted something that casts a bit of light in there, which it seems to be doing now. So here we go. And then if we've got it as a shape like that, we can go and bring it like this. I'm just making the spiky one now, which will be this way around, so with a couple of splits. Like so, and like so, and then so. When you see it subdivided, you'll see what I'm doing. There you go. So I'm just making this spiky tooth, and then just smooth it right down. It'll give me exactly what we want. Now, to help, actually what I should have done with the other one is change the colour. So I want to change it to like a yellowy, whitey sort of greeny, I don't know, something like that. That will do us. That'll give us enough for, again, for this first, get some nice shapes going here. Yeah, that's great. In fact, I will actually replace some of those now that they're not quite as good enough as I hoped. They were fine as a you know, holding pattern, I suppose is the right word. Let's just bring these up now for the bottom teeth. Shouldn't have been lazy really, should I? I should have just done it right for the first time. There you go. That'll make the bottom teeth better. And they are just much more normal teeth. And then more blocky and problematic for cleaning down at the bottom as it goes into the mouth. I'm sure she hasn't got very good dental hygiene. Just make it dark red, something like that. And there we go. That will do us just for the holding for the time being. Obviously, we're going to do a lot more work with this mouth. There's you know, she needs to have a really nice shaped mouth around here. Although she hasn't got lips. It's an old person, an older lady, I'm guessing. So obviously the hard lip edges of a younger person, nice full lips, doesn't really apply. But what we do need then is we're going to sculpt this in another program once it's finished. So we need to put the right amount of detail in there for it to be UV mapped, and then, you know, then it to carry that detail. So I think we've kind of done it there with that, something like that. So let me just turn off surface contours for a minute. There you go. So I'm going to come out of the headset in a moment, so I'm just going to do some final checks before I do. So those ears don't go back far enough, so we need those ears to go back like that and up like that a little bit. And then this head is nowhere near big enough, so we'll bring that up and then smooth it back down where it needs it. So that's working well. So needs quite a lot of tightening at the top here. Might be time to get that smooth brush out actually, and then we'll slowly work our way around here wherever we want to, because we've got good geometry now mostly. This smooth shouldn't cause any problems, it's just tightening up the geometry that we've got. Did I pin that? Yeah, I did. That's why we're having a problem. So I'd pinned it to the model, so as I was moving the model around, the light was moving with it. She has a bigger, definitely got a bigger kind of jaw here. Like so. Wider jaw as well by the looks of it. So use that tightening brush. And then her neck might have a bit more volume, maybe a bit further back. Get rid of that brush, I don't want that now. And then up at the back, maybe much more, as you might envisage a witch being. You see why I like the tightening. There's lots of, there is a fall off you can do in there by pushing your thumbstick up and down. There's so many little cool tools in here that were put in right at the start when they were making the polygonal tools. And because I had such a break from VR, I think it kind of, you know, I've forgotten some of the tools that we got in there right from the start, so I must go back and refresh myself on it. So this in here needs some more polygons, but I'll probably do that next, either on the next session or, yeah, that mouth's gone too small now. Look, she's got a tiny mouth now, so let's bring that down a bit. Yeah, we've ended up giving her a really tiny little smash mouth, so we don't need that. And we've pushed the polygons the wrong way there, so we've got to be careful doing that. So get all these lined up correctly so that our mouth is back to how it was when we pull it down. So she looks a bit more like Cruella the Witch now, which is, so I'm gonna group some of these things now. So I'm gonna group these teeth, group them, and then so you're just selecting over them and hitting the pink button, and that selects them and adds them to a group. So that should be that lower assembly now, so that's that one sorted. And then we do the same with the top one, so the inner bit, so that's now a, oops, I think I joined it with the head then, which I didn't want to do. So those two teeth together, those three teeth, and the gum, and the gum, and the gum, and the gum. We can always do that later. We can you know, bring that back later. Unseparate them later is what I'm trying to say. Bring it down even more, wider even more. That looks good. There we go. Maybe bring that down a bit. I'm beginning to think the eyes aren't wide enough. What do you think? I think what I might have to do is this. So bring it wider. So I've just brought the eyes wider. And then bring it all wider like this. That looks better, doesn't it? And then we'll just clean it up inside. So what I have to do now is I have to fix all of that now, because I've obviously made quite a bit of a mess on the eye geometry. Well, that's fine. It's, you know, this is the time we should be doing this. You don't want to be correcting all this later on down the line. It's, you know, the more we can do now, the better, really. And it gets more and more complicated. The more polygons you put in there, the harder this gets. So the big decisions are made when you're at the lowest polygon levels. You can't polish a turd, as they say. So, you know, work on it early. That's fine. Maybe that still needs to come down a bit. This needs to come down a bit. Look, it's casting nice shadows now, so. Well, she's along the right lines, but now we need to make her, you know, we need to make her into that character. So let's just bring my headset off for a moment. So look at that, looks cool in pass through. So you can see this is how I would work in pass through. So this is in my studio. There's my Pinocchio poster and the desk. So we'll just put that on one side for a moment, and what I'll do is I will have a look at some. I can't even read these in here, unfortunately. But let me just take my headset off and put my glasses on. So, okay, let's have a look. So, Dragonfrog, hey, hello, hello, hello. Oh, the headset's gone off, but it doesn't matter for a minute. Something tells me that Vision Pro is out of the reach of mainstream in terms of cost and difficulty to use, to just a $10 app. Frog. Also, have you tried Valence 3D? Yes, I've tried Valence 3D. I absolutely love it. I'm talking to the developer now. As are a few of my friends as well. So, you know, we're you know, quite a few people. I want Forger app to be. Why is it gone off completely? Just bear with me. Screen goes completely black if you don't put the password in, so, which I don't want. So I'll take it off, but I'll keep my thumb on the button, so at least we have something to see. Valence, yeah, it's on the iOS, and there are some things wrong with it. I think what we definitely would like to see is so we need tweak to be able to tweak the individual polygons instead of having to select them first. We need soft selection, and we need to be able to smooth and tighten vertices. But it's amazing. I want Forger app to be that, but I cannot use Forger app and get it to work accurately. So the mirroring on Forger app is terrible. Let me just change. I'm just thinking if I change this. There we go. So we don't have to look at the VR view. So yeah, in fact, I've got one of these switching devices here. So does this work? Maybe I could show me. Yeah, look at that. How cool is that? So yeah, the Forger app's just not helped. It's not right. Valence, fantastic. So, you know, it gives us what we've got in Blender and Cinema and Maya and all of that on the iPad if they get it right. So the developer's working hard on that. And then the thing about the difference between these, so MetaQuest 3 and Vision Pro. So obviously for us in the UK, Vision Pro, it's not out yet, but I have tried it, and it's $3,500. So you're basically putting a Mac on your head, and you can't make anything with it that I can see. So my friend Steve Tukowski's been playing with it a lot, and, you know, and if he could make it work, then great, I would probably follow along. But I don't see the point of popping $3,500 into something that's just for watching media. So I'm a maker, not a watcher. Obviously, I watch, you know, I make for media, and, you know, my job is film, TV, game, you know, advertising, and I make stuff. So having a device that just helps me watch more, then it's pointless, utterly pointless for me. If they get things like this Gravity Sketch in there, then that's a whole different world. Then I would be in that week. I would buy it for the company and get it in. But there's no point while it's, you know, just for media. It's not for me. I just don't need it yet. It needs to be significantly, at least, Substance Modeler and some controllers, or the hands being as good as controllers. And I need it to be Gravity Sketch. They're the two essential ones for me. Quill would be nice, but I don't use that. I'm not an animator, and I'm not that. I've never really dived into Quill. But the great thing about this, so these are only $3.99 in the UK, and I have to admit, I've got, you can see a few up here, probably on the walls. I've got 2 or 3 of the 2s knocking around. But pass-through is a game changer, and that's what I spent COVID doing, was getting some qualifications. I got a master's in XR and VR creation tools, and my master's was all about where we go from that point to here. So, you know, these headsets with pass-through are basically mixed reality. They're not brilliant, the quality's not brilliant yet, but it's good enough. And for me, that's the way forward. Until we get actual, you know, glasses that do it, that's where this is going. So if I'm going to create, I mean, I create in VR every day, backing up my normal skills. So as a company, we use Cinema 4D because a lot of our clients ask us to. We use Maya, Blender sometimes if needed, and we just model in whatever the individual modelers model in whatever they want, because the output is just the same. It's just geometry. But for fast, you know, the fastest way to make a shape now for me is in still Adobe Medium, even though that's dead in the water. So Adobe Modeler would be the one that I would really invest the time in. And then for anything where I need clean polygons, then it's just Gravity Sketch. So I'm going to end the stream. Thank you very much for joining me. Let me just switch it back to that screen. So I'm going to save Meg Mucklebones now, and I'm going to probably carry on doing this model next time. So have a great day, everyone. See you next time.